Hey everyone, so today we're going to talk about a small part of Nissan's racing history in the late 1960s. But before that, there was the Prince Motor Corp. They had created their second generation Skyline, and it had a new inline six-cylinder engine. That's why this car has such a long hood, by the way. And they entered it into the Japanese Grand Prix in 1964 to show off this new engine, but they were defeated by a Porsche 904 GTS, and the Skylines had to take second through sixth place in that race. So Prince realized that the mid-engine layout of the Porsche was superior. So what they did next is they took a Brabham BT8 chassis and created a new bodywork around it. And they still used the Skyline engine. It was making around 200 horsepower in race trim. And then later on, it was taken over by Nissan when the Prince Motor Corp merged with Nissan in 1966. And so that created this red car that we're looking at here, the R380 Mark II. So this is by Kyosho. All three of these models are actually by Kyosho. We're going to take a look at this guy here. So in 1966 now, this car beat the newer Porsche 906s. And if you look at the photo here, I guess that's a Porsche 906, and this car is beating it. So these cars took first and second place. I think it was number 10 and maybe number 11. And then in 1967, Nissan had entered four of these cars into the Japanese Grand Prix again, but the Porsche 906 won this time around, and then these things came in second, third, fourth, and sixth. But later on in that year, 1967, this car, or one of the cars, this R382, broke 7 speed records. So it was a pretty fast car, obviously. So let's get into the model now. Let me angle the camera down. So pretty nice red, which scares me actually, because red and Kyosho usually lead to some paint rash, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that. But if we look at the printing here, you know, it's not a decal, it's tampo printed, so this should last for a long time. There's some black paint where this vent should be. It's just blanked off. The wheels are, as usual, you know, prototypical to the real car, so this is quite realistic. It's running, oh, I thought it would run racing slicks, but it actually has treads. Okay, it's riveted together. Okay, let's go to the front. So we got the lenses as usual, and it looks like some indication of some light bulbs back there. So that's pretty good. Looks like the real car. And then there are some fog lights here on the real car, but here we just they painted some silver there. This vent does go in a bit, yeah, so pretty good. Let's see. The interior, well, before the interior we got a molded on windshield wiper, and it's painted black. But yeah, then the interior is just the typical black plastic of Kyosho. So there are details, but it's kind of hard to see. I can kind of see some molding of some seat belts or something on that seat. This one looks just kind of plain. Okay, or maybe it's not even a seat. No, I think it is a seat, just plain. And it's kind of weird that there's absolutely nothing showing here. I don't know if that's the case with the real car or not. But I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe that's just like a heat shield or something like that, and the person's actually supposed to look through the rear window. Okay. Anyways, yeah, typical Kyosho. We got some nice plastic lenses here, and we got a grille texture as well. I don't know if it's such a high pitch. I think that must be part of the metal casting. I don't know, or is it part of this and like it's a tongue and groove thing? I'm not sure what the deal is there. Okay, well anyways, pretty nice detail. You know, the grooves are really thin. So, yeah, you know, I think I'm lucky. I'm looking for the paint problems now. But no, I don't see any paint problems at all. So I really lucked out, because I looked online for like the Nissan Racing Collection from Kyosho, and I think this came out in 2010. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I found one of these race cars in like an internet forum from 2010, so this is a, you know, kind of an old model now, and it's in great shape, so I'm very happy about it. Okay, cool. I do know that Kyosho has the next race car from Nissan called the R381, and it's got, well, unfortunately I don't have it. Someday I will get it, and I guess I'll have a different video. So imagining we reviewed a 381, this is the next car in line. It's the R382, and this one does have like this little car card here, so I can't read Japanese, but yeah, alright, cool. Alright, so the R382 is now talking the 1969 Japanese Grand Prix. It was built to Group 7 specs. I don't know what Group 7 specs are. Didn't bother researching that. But I did find out that this thing is the first V12 engine that was made by Nissan. So that's pretty interesting, I think. And the bodywork here is scratch built by Nissan. And since the FIA banned adjustable wings, which is what was on the 381 car that I don't have, they built the wing into the bodywork itself. Alright, so then another feature that I found is this channel is going to a radiator, and there it is. There's a radiator there. So I thought that was interesting, just to have the radiator in the back, whereas most modern cars it's in the sides and possibly the front for the older ones. So interesting. Let's see, and then yeah, you just got this giant scoop here right above the driver's head, just ramming air into those carburetor carbs or inlet tubes. Okay, let's see here, anything else? Well, so I guess Porsche had the 917 out by this time in 1969, so Nissan was actually pretty lucky in that GP. They actually took the top 2 positions after 320 miles into the race, and third place went to a Toyota 7. So later on, though, I know that the Porsche 917 was a very successful race car. So that's all I found out for the stats there. So I guess we'll get to the nitpicky part of my reviews. So look at these wheels. Yeah, I'm pretty sure those are accurate. It's hard to tell because they're black. If I look at photos of the real car, they're usually racing, so I can only assume these wheels are realistic. I'm now trying to see if there's air passing through them. Maybe not. No, I think they're blanked off. I can kind of see like a rotor. It's a little circular rotor, which is not usual for Kyosho, so that's pretty nice. So again, the printing's nice. You know, you get these tiny little red mirrors, but there's no silver there. But it's nice to see these little mirrors. Pretty cool. Alright, seems to be some sort of logo of some sort there. Let's see if we can focus in and see if it's legible. Yeah, look at that. Some sort of N. I assume that's Nissan, right? So pretty good. What is this though? I don't know, some sort of stain. It's a used car, so I don't know. I might have to try to polish that out or something like that. This is definitely a contaminant. I think it's actually scratched off too, so that's too bad. Okay, so now I'm looking at the paint. Another contaminant, but I don't see any actual paint bubbling, which is good. So it's a stable model here. Okay, this side, no problems. You know, nice STP logo there. Alright, yeah, going to the back again. I think that's one of the highlights of this model. The exhaust pipes are actually running through these vents. Interesting. These vents actually are real, right? They're yeah, that's functional. So, and then we got some like a differential and probably tail lights there. Are they paint? Yeah, these red dots are painted. They're not lenses or anything like that. Naturally running slicks on a race car. We got some more slight detail there of the transmission and engine sump, I suppose. Okay, so this one's riveted together as well. Really staggered tires on this one. I'm curious, right? This is more like a street car. It's a little bit staggered, but this is now like a full-on LMP almost car. Look at this, huh? That's pretty neat. So you remember it's a V12 engine, so yeah, it's supposed to be 6 pipes here. Probably 3 and 3, and that's why there would be 2 pipes coming out each side. Yeah, some channels running into that radiator, and then yeah, I can see a little bit of the cylinder heads there, so that's pretty neat. Maybe this is the fuel filler cap, or actually probably these are. Maybe there's 2. I'm not sure. And interesting, the cockpit, right? It's not symmetric. This top line, and it's kind of like there's a seat, but I don't know if people could actually sit in these secondary seats. It might have just been to meet like racing rules saying you have to have a 2-seater, but maybe that wasn't actually ever sat in because it might be super narrow. Whereas this obviously is going to be a more comfortable racing seat with the harnesses molded in. No additional paint or anything like that. That's pretty typical for a Kyosho. I'm assuming this is a vent. It would have been nice to have some black paint there, like on the red car. This is a... oh, that's blanked off. So I think that's probably the black plastic of this belly pan. Okay, so not too bad if I can get this off. I'm gonna have to take some of that Tamiya fine polish and see if I can get that out. Might just be some sort of gunk. But yeah, luckily on both of these models, I don't see any sort of paint rash, so I think these will be pretty nice for the foreseeable future, right? If they're already 10 years old, so more than 10 years old. So I'm very happy about that. Let's get Mr. Spinner and put these cars up here, and you can kind of hold on here. Let me pan out here, and then I'll start it again from scratch. So you can pause the video and compare the photos to the real car if you want. But I think they look pretty realistic, right? What I'm really liking are the little mirrors. You know, I'm always griping on TLV for being so lazy. Why can't they put mirrors onto their classic car models? It can obviously be done. I mean, these are pretty tiny mirrors, right? I think they could put some on their classic cars. It would be nice. So it's not always the case though with Kyosho. I mean, this is a Kyosho also, and there are no mirrors. So I don't know. I don't work at the company. I'm not sure what Kyosho is doing with their decisions. And frankly, I don't even think Kyosho cares much about 164 because it doesn't seem like they roll out many models. So it's too bad. Too bad. I think they concentrate more on their RC vehicles and stuff, the Mini Z line, which is pretty cool actually. I have one. Okay guys, well, I'm rambling on obviously, so I'm gonna leave you guys with a interesting question I found online. If a piano player is called a pianist, wouldn't a race car driver be called a racist? Alright, see ya.